Good morning. I'm here today to show you my product of the week, which is the embossing mats. When you order the embossing mats, you actually get 3 pieces. You get an impressions pad, which is kind of like a piece of hard white plastic. You get a thick gray silicone mat and this lighter, thinner blue silicone mat. You use the different mats depending on the detail in your die and the thickness of the cut you want to create. So today I'm going to show you how to create a background using some of your Thinlit dies. So you don't need to have any special embossing plates or anything. We're just actually going to use the dies. So today I'm going to use the Tropical Thinlits and show you how we can create a background using those. So I'm going to take out this one leaf and use that. And I love this because I can actually put the pieces exactly where I want, unlike an embossing folder where I kind of have to do whatever the design is. I can create my own background. So I've got a piece of Copacabana here. I'm actually going to put this where I want it on my cardstock. So I think I'm going to start with that one about like that. And then I'm actually flipping it over. The reason I'm doing that is so that the cutting piece is pointing up. When we're embossing with Thinlit dies, we want to actually make sure the cutting piece is pointing up. So I've got just my regular Big Shot platform, one of my very cut up plates, and then this piece just where I wanted it. I'm just going to hold it in place, flip it over, and leave it like that. Now I'm going to take my very thin blue silicone mat and lay that just right over top. And I'm going to take the impressions plate and put that on top, and that completes my sandwich. Now this is actually quite a thin sandwich, so it's not cutting through the paper, it's not cutting through that silicone mat at all. And then I just run it through my Big Shot like I would normally. And you can see it's very smooth, it's barely pushing down on that. And I will pull that out, and we'll take a look at what we've created here. So I'll undo our sandwich so you can see my silicone mat hasn't been cut at all. And here is an impression in my cardstock. Okay, so I'm actually going to do this a few more times just to create the type of border that I'm looking to create today, which is kind of a tropical background look. And I'm even going to show you that this really doesn't cut through. I'm going to leave this so that part of the die is sticking out from under the paper, so the paper's not protecting this silicone mat either. I'm going to run that through one more time. All right, there we go. And my silicone mat is intact. Look at that. All right, sometimes you do get a little bit of cutting. You can see on here it's cut through the paper just a little bit. The piece is still there. It was just maybe how I had it laid down on my plate below, because my plate's a little bit warped, so it might have created a bit more pressure in one spot. But the piece isn't falling out, so I'm happy with that. I'm just going to do this a few more times to finish up my background here, so I'm getting a really nice embossed background piece. Alright, there we go, and again, no cuts, even though it made a few cracks that time. Alright. And I think I'm going to run it through one more time with the piece up there. I'm just trying to create a border on 2 of the sides. The rest of it's going to get covered up with other things. So here we go, last time through. And there we go. So I've got some really nice impressions on that piece of paper, some nice embossing without having to get any extra materials. I'm just using the dies that I already had at home, so that's always nice. I'm just going to move the Big Shot out of the way now. And we will finish up this card using this embossed piece that we've now created. So for the rest of this card, oops, there's loose pieces here. For the rest of this card, I'm going to use the Tropical Chic stamp set. And I've already done a lot of prep for this card. I've already glued a bunch of things down. So I'm going to glue down this background that I've created now. And I like using the mono liquid glue. I've said this before. I really enjoy it because it allows me to just do that little bit of extra precision when I'm lining up my pieces. I don't have to be so exact the first time I set it down. There we go. So that's all done. So we've added that. So I've got a flirty flamingo background with some Bermuda Bay and some Copacabana. And now I'm going to stamp a little image to go in this space. So I'll get rid of my glue for a moment. I'm going to start with the thank you sentiment from the Tropical Chic, and I'm going to ink that up with my Memento Black and stamp that right at the top. Then I'm going to create some flowers. I'm using Flirty Flamingo and Lovely Lipstick from our In Colors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my Flirty Flamingo, or my flower with Flirty Flamingo. And then I'm going to use a sponge dauber in Lovely Lipstick and very, very gently just tap that around the edges of the flower. I'm not even making a full impression on that flower. And right there. And so you can see it just adds a little bit of shading to the outside. I'm going to stamp that off just to get the Lovely Lipstick off before I stamp back into my Flirty Flamingo. Now I don't even need to re-ink my sponge dauber. There'll be enough Lovely Lipstick left on there. And again, just around the edges. And stamp. There we go. So I've got two lovely flowers. Now I'm going to use some Copacabana and some Bermuda Bay to stamp some leaves onto this. So let's see. There we go. I got my Coastal Cabana. I always call it Copacabana. It's Coastal Cabana. And just gently tap that, ink that up. Put that there. And there we go, a little lighter one by doing the second stamp. And finally, my Bermuda Bay, favorite color. And I'm going to stamp that there. And another one over here, just overlapping a little bit. And actually, one little stamped off one. There we go. So that is, look to our background now. And then, of course, we'll add a little bit of bling to it. I've got some jewel rhinestones that we're going to add to this. So I'm just backing these all on black just to make them pop a little bit. There we go. Now I will grab some of our rhinestones. Alright, and as usual, I'm going to do 3 on here. I like the look of the triangle that you can make with 3 little gems. So that's done. Now I'm going to use some dimensionals to attach this to my card front. Put that there. And voila. So, just a really nice subtle background made using those embossing mats, and any dies that you have. I've used this technique using the detailed dragonflies. I've got a card coming up this week that I'm going to show you using some of the dies from the Seasonal Layers Thinlits. It's really versatile. The more detailed the die, the better the background looks. Hi Jamie, nice to see you. So the more detailed the die that you're using, the better the background looks. You can also do this on cut images. So if I get a chance later this week, maybe on Friday, I'll pop on and show you that. Otherwise, look for the card that I'll post using the detailed dies with both cutting out the image and embossing it. So that's it, and this is just a quick little card. I actually cased the basic layout from Dawn Griffiths, so thank you, Dawn, and then just changed up the background a little bit to use that embossing technique. So hope you all have a great day, and check back for more samples using the embossing mats. Bye!